1, 2, 3.
Hey, everybody, it's the Ford Fiesta, your stalwart hosts, Paul and Adam, back in the zone after
stalwart where we want to be.
Stalling, even. We did do a show last week just because. I think we were both here. We just didn't get our crap together. So, but we are here and ready to deliver some stuff for you. Who else is here? David's here. And David's got to be here. Oh, David is here. Well, there you go. Everybody's
at our earlier time. Yeah, earlier time to schedule in our guest here. And
yes, but friend of mine.
Yeah. Please introduce me.
We go back to high school, but the internet and social media will get you back in touch with what people do. I mean, not that we've talked much until like today, but just to see what he's up to. And I was just telling my girlfriend this, he and I did shows together. I think we did Irene, a musical in high school, because I wasn't good enough to be in Hello Dolly, which I think he was also in. But I was handling.
You're in Good Night Irene instead of Hello Dolly, or Goodbye Irene?
Yeah, Good Night Irene. I was holding down the dramas and the comedies, the Arsenic and the Old Lace and the Rehearsal for Murder as well. Mike was handling it. But lo and behold, he's gotten himself into magic and can now be found as the entity Magic by Michael. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's a particular handle or anything outside of just the title of what he does. But let's get him on here and talk to us all about it. It's Michael Gray, everybody.
Hey guys,
and
how's it going?
Ta-da! Look, he just appeared. He's already killing it.
No smoke, just like straight magic.
Don't tell anybody how you did that. That's the rule number 1. Don't tell anybody how you just appeared on our show. We don't want to spoil it.
That's the first rule of magic, but not the first rule of Fight Club. The fourth rule of Fight Club is never reveal your secrets. But anyway.
All right. Either way, you don't talk about anything. But I said, Michael, come on the show. We're going to talk about Clear and Present Danger. And you said you have a trick that sort of ties into that. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But let's talk about you. What got you into magic after I last left you? You were just a kind of a singer and an actor, and I don't know what else back in our upstate New York domiciles.
At what point did you commit to not having a girlfriend?
Yeah, that's
how dare you?
Kind of how it works. No,
I can make all the magic jokes I want. I'm a veteran of Penn and Teller's Fool Us. So.
Oh,
that's true. I should tell you, Adam worked in the post-production team for that show.
Yeah,
and I know.
Cool. I hear they're very nice guys.
Very much. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that when I was in the late 80s, very early 90s, mid to late 80s, I used magic to get girlfriends, basically, and free drinks, as it turns out. Free drinks in Oneonta. You make something levitate at the bar, and they just pretty much put stuff in front of you and go, just take it. Go. That's for you.
You're made of magic.
You have friends. You got lots of friends.
Gather around.
Yeah. But
they're like, please bring back the sun, right? I don't know how Oneonta works, but that's how it would be in my hometown.
No, I started doing it a long time before that, though. I was like 8 years old. Our single mother was putting the 3 kids in way back in Oneonta, New York. There was a department store called Ames. This is before Walmart took over everything and Amazon.
Ames.
But this is after Big N. This is after Big N.
That I don't know.
Watch the timeline.
Yep. So, you had to take all the kids out with you because you had to go do stuff. And there's, of course, the toy aisle. And she would put us in, we all said we want something. And she'd put us in front of that one wall, that 99-cent wall. You can have this wall. Pick one thing. That's what you can have. And mine was a peg-hooked, something called a ball and vase, where you put a ball in a vase and you opened it up and it was gone. It was in your pocket. And then you put it in your pocket. You opened up the vase again. It was there, hooked, just like that. And then I started getting to magic, talking to people that knew magic. I did a little retail in Oneonta at a place called Imagine That, long since closed. Sold magic there. And moved to the city and worked for an international company called Marvin's Magic, where I'm back doing it again through FAO Schwarz in Manhattan when I'm not doing sideshows.
I worked
Where do
as
you
a FAO Schwartz toy soldier many moons ago in Chicago. Wow. Yeah,
Chicago?
That FAO Schwartz is gone. I think just the flagship remains, right, in New York City?
Yeah, they moved it. It was at Trump Tower, so it seemed important not to be there anymore, I guess. But they reopened it in 2018 in Rockefeller Plaza. The pandemic happened right after that, and they're rebounding gangbusters right now. It's a huge, huge tourist spot. I demonstrate magic and toys, and I do that for a living when I'm not doing magic on the side. So pretty much I play with toys and I do magic tricks, and that's my livelihood. That's it.
My first trick deck I bought at Crazy Gifts. You remember Crazy Gifts in downtown Oneonta, right?
Yeah, I sure do.
Yeah.
Brian. Yeah.
Yep. You could buy fake poop or magic card tricks. That kind, and everything in between.
And the big lighter.
A big lighter?
A big, I self-bleep, the big lighter. My kid's here. It's this big, and it said big lighter on it. And he had and it worked. It was this big. And he went.
By the way,
you have a kid and a wife. So,
yeah.
Joke's on you, Adam.
Joke's on me. Wait, no, I was doing the Bart Caius joke there, which is the magicians or comedians or whoever don't have a girlfriend. But when you started rattling off all the magic in the magic shops, by the way, there didn't used to be like toy stores. I don't think at one time there was no like Toys R Us. I mean, we're old, or Children's Palace. Magic shops were the places where you could find so much cool stuff. Like those were the dedicated stores where you could go in and get lost. But Bart Caius, a movie guy, always has a great story about a place in Cleveland, which is in one of those shopping malls, and the magic shop had a speaker above it. And he said, no matter where in the plaza you could hear the magic guy in just some old guy voice just listing off all the magic tricks they got. We got a bug in the ice. We got the tricks deck. We got fake vomit. We got fake poo. We got fake poo on a hat. Yeah. Just no matter where you were in that plaza, it was just like, we got bugs and ice. We got fake snapping gum. We got
we got sea monkeys. We got
we got sea monkeys. We got giant eyeballs. We got the giant bulging glasses.
I
we got no shit on a hat.
Come help me.
Yeah. Somebody get me out of this mall. Okay, but today we got Clear and Present Danger, the 1994 classic Harrison Ford espionage drama. Adam and I will give you our thoughts on that film later, but there's a trick you could sort of theme into this movie, or an illusion. Sorry, I know Job Bluth would correct me and say trick is what a whore does for money. It's an illusion, right?
Well, actually, it's mentalism. When you think about the movie Clear and Present Danger, not mentalism as we know, like divining something from mentally guessing your number or anything, but Jack Ryan had to dig, and he had to dig deep, and he had to go everywhere to get the information he needed. He wanted to know where it started, who knew what, when they knew it, right? So in a way, that's using your cranium, that's using your brain. And I thought, what better way to show that, because of all the different, red herrings that get thrown into a story like this, what better than 52 different red herrings or 51 in a deck of cards? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick one of you guys. One of you guys are going to be the spy. Which one? You look shifty, actually. I know him, but you look shifty. You should be the spy.
All right, I'll be the spy.
Yeah, you be the spy. Okay, so what's going to happen is there's important, intelligent intel here, and one of them is top secret. It doesn't matter which one it is. And I'm just going to start showing them. All you have to do, whenever you want to, is just commit part of this intel to memory. Got it? This is important.
This is like a spy dead drop. Okay.
This is like a spy dead drop. Exactly.
Okay.
So you're just going to look at these cards and you're just going to think of one. You don't say nothing. Okay. You don't consult with your compatriot over there. This is your proprietary information.
So it's one that I see. I'll commit to memory.
Right. And I'm just going to show you a few. You don't tell me which one it is. Just let me show a bunch so I don't know exactly. Okay. So I'm going to start showing the cards to the camera here. All right. One at a time. And all you've got to do is decide any card at any time. You got one?
Okay, I found mine.
You have one. Okay, that's fantastic. So I know that it's one of the cards here near the top of the deck.
Right, one of the first couple.
Exactly. Let's not make it too easy for me, because otherwise, that's it's just not much of an interesting trick. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start showing you. Let me cut the deck at least one time here, okay? I'm going to start showing you a bunch of cards from the front of the deck, and all you got to do is let me know. Now, if you're an actual spy, if you're the actual bad guy, you're not going to openly give me any information that I could use as somebody trying to figure something out to save our nation. But here's what I want you to do. Just for the sake
That's
of
the plot point I like in this, is that the nation is at stake. And that's the gravitas that too few card games or card tricks have.
Listen, if you go back, first of all, don't forget the card as we ramble here. But if you go back to the centuries of card games, back when pasteboards were first introduced originally from the Orient into the hands of even the Old West, they would put their lives, their family, their livestock on the table for these games. So they become as important as saving your nation. You're saving your livelihood, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you just a few cards here, and you're just going to let me know. You're just going to let me know if you see that proprietary information. Again, if you
blow it up, Paul,
you're not going to say anything. Paul doesn't know anything. He didn't know what you're thinking of. Only you know the card. So I'm just going to show some cards, and you just let me know. I'll get them right close to the camera here. You just let me know if your card is visible, okay?
Hold on a second here. I got to blow you up. Start this over again. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to start showing the cards, and you let me know if you see your card anywhere. Did you see your card anywhere?
I did not. You want to try that again?
That's not a problem. That's not a problem. It really is.
I could bluff you, though, of course.
Huh? Yeah,
I could bluff you, of course.
You could be. Were you bluffing?
No, I was not.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Don't do that.
That does not matter
who are
at
you,
all.
Felix?
I'm a spy.
Yeah. That does not matter at all. So all we're going to do is we're just going to mix the cards a couple of times, okay? It's not important. So here's what's got to happen. We are going to start just a couple of mixes, a little bit of mixes. We don't know exactly what's going on, but what we are going to do is we are going to discern what your card was, okay? So if it wasn't there, it's got to be somewhere. So let's just start doing this. You think of your card, okay? If I was going to grill you, this would be out loud. But I know somewhere you've got this information. I'm going to get that information. I don't know where that information is. But I'm going to use my guile. I'm going to use my smarts, my cunning. I'm going to stop there.
Ooh.
Something's telling me from all of this inquisition, from all of this grilling, something's telling me to stop right here where I stopped. For the first time, you tell me, what was the card?
It was the 7 of clubs.
Something told me to stop right here. Exactly here. All right. Now, if our nation was at stake, we'd all be dead because I didn't find the 7 of clubs. But international espionage is not a card game. Okay. International espionage is not a card game. As a matter of fact, remember I told you there's a reason I said I had to stop exactly right here?
Okay.
That wasn't where I wanted to stop because there's a lot of guile. There's a lot of subterfuge. You wanted to throw the enemy off. This is where I had to stop, the last one that I actually picked.
The very last one you picked? Ah!
Your card. And now the nation is safe.
Paul, play the drop.
Sorry, I went away from the from that stream. Mike, this is for you.
Get the fuck out of my house.
I should have seen that coming. Okay.
Awesome. That was great.
To tie it into Clear and Present Danger, Adam, you were Felix Cortez, the Joaquim de Almeida character who works for Escobedo, but seems to be flip-flopping between two different worlds. Canoodling with the Anne Magnuson character, and did Mike Gray he Jack Ryan'd you?
Yeah,
he Jack Ryan
in front of a bus.
Yeah, but we thought it was an accident.
Do you have another one just for fun? That was very in theme, so I'm impressed by that.
I like that.
Let me hit you with a question beforehand. Did you submit to Fool Us?
Yeah, I submitted one little thing to Fool Us, but I don't think my heart was really in it. I didn't run it 250 times like you should. I did have something. It went out. I was told by people that did this before. I actually worked with a gentleman named Apollo Riego, who was on last season of Fool Us. He didn't fool them, but the important thing is to get in front of millions of people, and he did. And they switched up what he wanted to do, and they told him to make it more dangerous and bigger, and a huge razor blade that he had to smash in his hand, and he still did it. He fooled Penn. He did not fool Penn.
Yeah.
But I put something out. And I didn't. And Apollo told me his was out there for months and months and months and months. They might like it. They might want to come back and ask you to change a couple of things. They might like the idea, but I did send something in.
I have no pull over there, but I would love to see you there sometime. Now should we try it? Should we try and bust the trick like Penn? I love the code in the show. I'm assuming you watch the show, Fool Us, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the code they speak in. And obviously, you are picking up a lot more than like the average viewer of what they're dropping there or whatever. Yeah. So, and you always bring up some random thing of like, I don't think I could bust this trick, but I just think it'd be funny because Penn would therefore have to use the clear and present danger plot to sort of drop in the middle of that, like the word force or something like that. Well, Harrison Ford, he never knew the force.
He was good at the force.
He wasn't good at the force, or whatever, another one of those terms.
I got to tell you, I would love that. As a matter of fact, let's do it right now. I'll tell you what, I'll stop anywhere. I want you to notice something. I don't have a monitor over here. There's no monitor over here. There's no monitor over here. It's just me and my phone. So I'm just going to go like this. I'm going to stop at a random location. I want you to memorize a card. See this card? Can you see it?
Yes.
You see what that card is?
Yes.
I do.
You got it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and grab it. I'm going to put it right back roughly in the middle-ish of the deck. Roughly the middle-ish of the deck, yeah? Okay. We're going to leave it there. Roughly the middle-ish of the deck. We're going to find your card. Ready for this? I want you to try to bust me. I want to be that person that's hard to interrogate. Okay, I'm going to find your card. Ready for this? Here it goes. I have found your card. Hang on a second. I'm going to hypnotize you. You ready? Your card is right here. If you both look at my hand, right here at the third eye in the center of my palm, I'm going to make you believe that I'm not holding your card. I'll say that again. I'm going to make you believe that I'm not holding your card, even though I found it, because I'm a magician. That's what I do. Ready? 1, 2, 3. You've been hypnotized. Am I holding your card?
Yes.
No.
See? Works every time. No. I told you.
No, it's a no.
You're not impressed? I think they think I'm joking. Hang on. Let's do this again. Back up. I'll take the hypnotic spell off, okay? I'll take it off. They think it's a joke. 1, 2, 3. It's off.
All right. It was the Black Sleep of
Michael
Kali.
Gray is here, everybody. I went right back to the beginning of the show. I forgot what was happening.
It was the Black Sleep of Kali, Paul. It was the Black Sleep of Kali. That's the next theme. That you could do another Harrison Ford theme trick. That one there could be the Black Sleep of Kali.
There it is.
and you put fire on us, take it off of us, and then okay. So that trick you did there.
Get the fuck out of my house.
Get it out. Just go.
Boy, that was great. Boy, what an easy one that is.
Wow.
You're not doing a whole lot of nonsense. It's just sort of, here's the card. I'm getting the card. Boom.
That was,
press,
yeah.
That's a great, clean joke. It's a great, clean illusion. I like that.
It's a joke.
Well, I noticed there's a lot of crossover with the magicians have to have a pattern, or otherwise it's just things that anybody can learn by repetition. I mean, theoretically, anybody can learn by repetition. So, yeah, there's a huge crossover in, being theatrical and...
Well, yeah, it's like any good story, like anything Harrison Ford has ever done, including Clear and Present Danger. One of my favorites, Air Force One. I know we're talking about Clear and Present Danger today, but one of my favorites, Air Force One, the layers in that, the acting and the storyline, the way it connects to everything is just written beautifully and, of course, acted beautifully. And that's the same thing with magic. If you're not holding somebody with a story, if you're not holding somebody with a narrative, if you're not getting them to invest in your story, then your message isn't getting out, your story isn't being seen, and you're not really successful in what you do.
Harrison Ford in general, I would say.
Yeah, in general. Yeah. That's why I picked everything right.
Only a couple of movies away from Air Force One, right? We got Sabrina after this. What's 96?
Oh, I thought it was next. You're right. It's
Is it Devil's Own? Is Devil's Own next? And then
oh, you're
Air
right.
Force One,
Devil's Own,
97.
Sabrina, and Air Force One. Oh, I thought we were
Yeah.
much closer to Air Force One. Yeah. And then that will wrap up Harrison Ford Phase 4. By the way, we've broken his career into certain phases, Michael. This is what we call the return to form after a lot of artistic ventures like Frantic and Mosquito Coast. You know, now he comes back. He's Jack Ryan. He's the president of the United States. He's being knighted. He was knighted in Patriot Games. Did you know that, Michael? He's Sir Harrison Ford.
Yep. I think I heard about that.
But I like, yeah. Do you got a favorite Harrison Ford movie?
I think it would have to be Air Force One. I think
Air
it's
Force
one of my
One.
absolute. It's either that or Witness.
It's kind of
The
the
toss
ultimate.
up, but Air Force One, I think it just edges out Witness for me.
Now, are you doing what I do, which is to say that's a good answer? Of course, we're saying Star Wars is a whole different category, right? Or
Yeah, Star Wars is a whole different category. I mean, it's a given. If you're a Star Wars geek, like
It's a given. That's the thing.
it's a given. Yeah, I know Harrison Ford doesn't like to talk about that. That's okay. We're talking about him. He's not talking about us. But as far as acting goes, as far as a multi-layered character goes, that's where I'm taking it from. I just like his power in that movie. The way he delivers his lines. Get off my plane. Just it's absolutely powerful. Is the word.
It's like if there. I don't think there's been an actor like this in a long time where you wait for their catchphrase. I think that became so cliched so quickly and was kind of forever. I'll be back. You know, Arnold Schwarzenegger said that in 3 movies. You know, after that, nobody could have a catchphrase and try and squeeze that into another movie or whatever. But Harrison Ford says so many things as though that's his catchphrase. You find this man. You're like, oh, he says that in all of them.
nope.
Or Air Force One, yeah.
Then you go
But
back and you're like, no, he didn't know
Nope,
at all.
no. He's
But
got
I
no
prove
actual
here,
catchphrases.
But I have proof here. Harrison Ford does talk about our show. Here, let me play.
What an
it.
incredible waste of time.
Oh, good.
There you go. It's,
What?
thanks, Harrison.
It was great. He's like, no.
All right. Do you want to send us off with one more, or we, or I got one
Sure.
more question for you?
If you'd
We-
like to
let's
ask
do
the
both.
question first.
Give me the
Wait.
themes of this trick, and we'll try and tie it in for you to one of the movies because we have an extensive. Unless you have another one for Clear and Present Danger.
Well, I could do anything for Clear and Present Danger. We could just go ahead and we can do something. I mentioned him before,
Ooh,
and there's a
close
tie
up.
in here with Fool Us. And I'd mentioned Apollo Riega, who I've worked with at FAO Schwarz, who was on Fool Us as well. And
Okay.
this is actually a trick that he created. He actually created this trick with 3
Really?
coins. Yeah, 3 coins in 2 hands. It's something that those that want to learn sleight of hand or already know some coin sleight of hand would get it and download it. But basically, it is 3 coins. 1, 2, and these are large dollar coins. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 coins. One goes here. And what's cool about this is it looks very cool. You just make one of them vanish like that. Then
Yeah.
after you do that, you take the other
Come on.
2 and you go like this. 1, 2, 3. And that one vanishes as well, leaving this
Ah,
one.
come on.
Now with this one, you take it and you place it right in the hand, just like this. After you place it in the hand, you just give it a little squeeze, 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 squeeze. Let it go, come back in again, make it come back out. This next one is right here hanging out in midair, right there.
Oh!
The other one is hanging out right here, and I'll just put it right there, and that would
Get out of
3
town.
coins again, just like that. And if you wanted to tie that into Clear and Present Danger, you can tie that into rounding up information and the usual suspects to coalesce
Ooh.
together to come up with the answer to whatever you got to do to save the nation. Times
There you
3.
go.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Awesome.
Mr. President.
Wow.
I don't dance. How dare you, sir? I say.
How
How
dare
dare
you?
you, sir?
Get the fuck out of my house.
Okay.
That is amazing, though. I mean, close-up magic is just it's on yet another level because there's less, like with the cards and stuff. There's lots of great flourishes and stuff, and you can distract and sort of stuff. Not that I know how any of that stuff works. I just know the basic ideas. But the close-up thing, like I've been over to the Magic Castle, and there was a friend of a friend that did close-up magic there, and you're this close, and you just did it too. You put your hands this close to the camera. You could see everything. You could see there's no. that's really impressive to be that close to the camera and it just poof, it just disappears. I don't know how.
Thank you.
The
That's
magic
a
shop
lot
on
of
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, the Magic Shop on
Huh?
Hollywood Boulevard is the first time I saw close-up magic, and the guy did this whole thing with cards and da da da. In the end, the little platform he was doing everything on, the little felt thing, he lifted it up, and there was a big drawing of my card. And I was like, I have to leave. I can't even, like, you're a
So
demon.
good.
You're the
Yeah.
Those are
devil.
the best reaction.
Get the fuck out of my house.
They just go. Like they don't tell you to get out. They go bye, and they just go away. And you watch them leave, and you go, I guess it was good. I guess it was good. Yeah.
Have you had those David Blaine reactions of the people who are like, oh, and they can't handle themselves?
Yeah. Quite often, especially when you're doing the real quick hit things where you make something change with a shake of your hand, or you make something levitate, or you like cast your. I mean, I could teach you guys a trick if you want to. I mean, it's really super simple. All you got.
I bet you couldn't.
I bet you I could. Grab a deck of cards. No. I don't even know if I have time for that. But you can take a card. You can put. No. Look. If you want to remember something, you've got to make something memorable.
Okay.
So if you're going to use a card, it's going to be the Ace of Spades, the best
Right.
card in the deck, and that's Harris for whatever. You want to put it in there like that. You go ahead and put it inside the deck.
I use the
And
Ace
what
of
you're doing
Spades.
is you mix them. Now, here's a really good trick you can learn. You go like this. You get some static electricity, and you just make it come out of the deck just like that, attached to your
Just
finger.
like that?
Super easy. Let me show you what happens. What happens is you put the card inside the deck and you see it go into the middle of the deck, but you're really taking the cards from the top of the deck and you're shuffling them in front of everything else. That leaves, of course, your selected card right at the top. Once that's, I'll do it again. You pretend it's in the middle. It goes in the middle. You grab all the cards above it. And as you're pushing it in, you take all those top cards and you shuffle them into the front. That leaves the selected card on top. Now, it's a simple matter of putting everything faced front, put your finger up top here, and from the back, you just put your pinky on that card, raising up like that from the front.
Ooh.
It looks like it comes. Yeah. The
That is some
important thing-
classic, that is some classic, when you figure out how this trick works as a kid,
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God, I'm a god.
But here's the thing, though. Going back to the idea of subterfuge and false information and red herrings, the important thing is you have to make it look like that card is actually going in to the middle of the deck, okay? I mean, you put it in the middle of the deck, right? But then you do that little fake shuffle thing. But you've got to make people believe it's actually in the middle of the deck. You've got to act. All right, those that understand movies and acting. And it's important because if you don't make them believe it's in the middle of the deck like that, then nobody's going to be impressed when a card seems to magically rise itself out of the middle of the deck, middle of the deck, like this, which would be their card. But we know it doesn't come from the middle of the deck. It comes from the top of the deck.
No, that's certainly not. Here, let me show you real quick. Like,
Right,
this is your
right,
card, right? You've picked the
Yes.
Ace of Spades, and all I have to do is make it. Oh, Jesus. Well, good work, Mike.
Hey, and that's magic, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Michael, real quick question. I'm very fascinated by the fact that why cards? Why is this, for some other intended purpose, the most versatile magic thing? Why are there 52, like there's 52 weeks out of the year? What is the synchronicity that created 52 cards? And that just fascinates me that like, there are, maybe you could boil down to how many types of tricks there are, there may be 15, 20 or something like that. But like the fact that cards is a thing, how did that happen?
Well, it's quite simple. It goes back to before the Ming Dynasty with the 4 seasons, with the 52 days of the week. They were using, of course, the Greco-Roman. I have no clue. I just know there's a bunch of baseboards here, and I like shuffling them. And
I don't
making
think you
things
fooled us.
I think 52
Not
days
good.
of the week. I was like, Mike might not be telling the truth here.
happen. He
What's
might be
the-
lying a little
Yeah.
bit.
What's the term for keeping the card in the center of the deck? Is there a term for that? I'm trying to think of like a pendulette way to tie that into Harrison Ford. Like if you put something in the center of the deck, but you don't mark it, but you're able to then manipulate it from there or whatever. Like
Oh, I know
holding
what
it, holding
you're
it, like
taking-
holding your card or whatever.
No, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about putting a card in the center of the deck and definitely putting the card in the center of the deck like that and leaving the deck right there so that the card's 100% in the center of the deck. So that even if you cut the deck like that, it's totally in the center of the deck, but it's not. The term for that is called wow.
You
Wow.
fooled us.
So, let's call it the Widowmaker because I got nothing else. So
The Widowmaker. There was a, I don't want to speak in code here. There was a Harrison Ford movie called K-19, The Widowmaker, and I don't believe you fooled us.
Well, I don't want to pass it up, but that was amazing.
It'd just be funny slipping in all the Harrison Ford movie titles as like card dodges or whatever. Yeah.
one last question, Mike. Then we'll let you go. And we're gonna
You might think you had 6 days and 7 nights, but I think I only saw 6 days and 8 nights. I don't think you fooled us.
Right. And what lies beneath? It's the 5 of
And what lies beneath the deck?
Get out of my house.
Get the fuck out of my house. Awesome.
Before we let you go, Mike, I asked this of all our guests. What is your favorite movie of all time? Harrison Ford or whatever. Take them all and pick one. That's your favorite.
Well, this is going to sound two-dimensional, but it's going to be The Princess Bride.
No!
Oh, that is not two-dimensional. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
no,
two-dimensional in the complimentary way, like a comic book. Like, that's two-dimensional in the right way, I'd say.
Yeah, it's not deep. It's not stunning, award-winning cinematography and direction and everything. But as far as my favorite movie, it's that or Galaxy Quest, quite frankly. I think Princess Bride just tops off Galaxy Quest quite because Galaxy Quest, of course, the homage to Star Trek and the geeks and the people at conventions and everything and becoming aliens and absolutely amazing. But Princess Bride, the second, as you guys know, the second most quotable movie ever made, right after Young Frankenstein.
Aha! Oh, that movie is just so incredibly quotable.
Yeah. I may even take you to task on the cinematography is beautiful, and it's deeper than you thought if you take the idea of the boy and his grandfather. That part is pretty deep and really where some of the biggest magic of a magical movie happens.
It is, but I was as far as entertainment value and some layers there, but I'm like, if you can't compare it to Rosebud, I mean, you can't compare it to, honestly, you can't to that, but
I see.
As far as fun movies, enjoyable movies, when I think movie, I don't think about art so much as enjoyable. I know what I like. I know what I enjoy. And I know I will never get tired of saying, you seem a decent fellow. I hate to kill you. You seem a decent fellow. I hate to die. Again, never going to get tired of that.
It's on and on. You are the Brute Squad. And you probably first saw it at the Oneonta Theater like I did 1,000 times.
Yes. Years and years ago. And I actually, one Halloween, not long after that, I dressed up as the Man in Black. Perfect everything. It was the blouse, the pirate shirt. It was the gloves. It was the thing. And everybody's like, hey, nice Zorro.
Yeah.
No cape. No cape at all. But yeah, no hat. But okay.
I played.
So people need you guys.
Yeah. I wish I was there to get your back on that because I would have gone up to you and said, you don't by chance happen to have six fingers on your right hand. My father
start off conversations this way.
Anyway, my father slaughtered by the 6-fingered man. Anyway, yeah, but I played Elwood Blues in the Universal theme park, and with another guy who was Jake, we did a whole Blues Brothers show, and yeah, we often got Men in Black. A couple people, are you guys the Reservoir Dogs? It's like, okay, stop. You can't.
At that point, you look at your partner, you go, we're not even going to go to the dance now because they don't deserve it. They don't get the dance.
This is the curse of being
they don't get back in the car
guy.
and get out of it.
Right.
All right, Mike, we appreciate it. Oh, what?
I've incredibly enjoyed being here with you guys. It's just super exciting to show you magic tricks, talk about Harrison Ford, talk about cool movies. And anytime you guys want me to come back for any reason whatsoever, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. I'll theme it. It's what I do. I'm able to take magic and, find connections to pretty much anything. And that's what's great about magic. It's hard to explain, but magic, what's really great about magic is it's magical in so many ways. And so many people have their own ideas of what magic is, what makes them feel magical. And that way, when you're asked to do something, go on a show or go to a corporate event or a birthday party or something thematic, and they're like, we're doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. you know, I come out of the shell and I'll do some really cool magic. Or if they're saying we're doing something about, we're learning this in this class that you're performing for, and I'll put it to the magic. And that connection, that ability to make my magic connect with whatever it is we're talking about or whatever it is somebody wants to discuss is, I think, as magical as the tricks themselves, making those connections in those ways. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to do it here.
Well,
Yeah, and
we are. I say we're very uncynical and childlike people. So this, that what you just said there works for us. Like, yeah, you know, I can even, like I said, I've even worked on the magic show or whatever, and I'm like, no, it's always magical. Like, it's like, no, you're too good at what you just did there. No matter how much I try to intellectually think, no, we're all about the fun and keeping things fun. And there's not an uncynical bone in the show here, unless you get me on a rant about a couple things. But anyway.
Yeah. Do you have to kick me off, or do you have time for one more?
I got one more. Can you work it into either The Force Awakens or Random Hearts?
I can work it into The Force Awakens.
How about Hollywood Homicide? Yeah.
Hollywood Homicide, yeah.
Okay.
If you want, or if I gotta go, it's cool.
No, go ahead.
No.
All right,
we're hanging.
Paul, you have a bunch of cards.
Finale.
You have a bunch of cards.
Paul has cards.
I do. Some are on the ground now, but yes, I have some cards.
Grab 9 of them.
It looks like Michael's grabbing 9 himself.
I sure am.
Okay. I guess
All right.
At the top they were unshuffled because
put them into 3 even piles. That would be 3 each, Paul.
Thank you.
For those of you who went to high school in Oneonta, come on, you gotta throw that in there, right? You gotta.
All right. Okay.
3.
So
3.
You're gonna love this.
You can't. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're gonna love this. Pick up either pile. It doesn't matter which, and look at the bottom card.
Okay.
All right. Now put the other 2 piles together.
Okay.
And put the pile that you looked at the bottom card of right on top of those. Now we're going to do some magic. Pick up all the cards, and you're going to spell. You don't have to do it out loud. You're going to spell your card out. You're going to do it like this. If it was a 9, you're going to use a card each. You're going to go N-I-N-E. If it was a 7, it was a king, K-I-N, exactly like that. So right now, just spell out the value. 1 card each.
Okay.
And
am I counting it out loud or just to myself?
To yourself, it doesn't matter. Just go whatever the value is. 1 card
1,
per letter.
2, 3, 5. Okay.
Oh no. No, like if it's my fault.
Wait.
We might have to start from scratch. You can edit this in post. My fault. If it's a 9, you're going to go N-I-N-E.
You know, I did that.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All
I did
right.
that.
So
I did that. I just didn't tell you what the number was, but I used
not
that
a
many
problem.
letters.
Does he have to start over now? Because
No,
there's
not
okay.
if all you've done is just counted down and those cards are sitting there.
Correct.
Then put the rest of the cards on top. Okay. Now pick them all up again. Now you got to spell of, because it's the whatever of whatever. So spell of.
Okay.
O-F.
O-F.
And then put the rest of the cards on top.
On the top. Okay.
Pick them all up again, and now spell the suit. S-P-A-D-E-S, D-I-A-M-O-N-D-S, 1 card each. And when you're done spelling out that suit, do the same thing with the rest of the cards on top.
It's very original.
When you're done spelling, put the rest of the cards on.
Am I spelling out the suit in plural or no?
No, just the suit. No apostrophe.
I'm spelling it out in plural? About
Plural. Clubs,
plural, right?
clubs, hearts. Yeah, with plural,
Okay.
with the S on it.
Okay.
Right. And then put the rest of them on top. Pick them all up again. Okay. Now we're going to spell out one more word. Magic. M. A. G. I. C. Your card in your hand.
It is.
What was your card?
Right. Showing it?
Yeah, turn on.
Yeah.
That's your card, right? That was
Yeah.
your card.
Wow.
Here's the secret. I have no idea how that works. It just does. It's
Yeah.
you can play that back and do it again for anybody.
Wait, you guys had 2 different cards. What did I miss there?
Well, his
that was
card
his
was
card.
that card. My card. This was my card.
Oh,
Yeah, this was the card I had on the bottom of the
Wow.
third pile that he had me spell it all out,
Oh.
and there it is.
Holy crap!
I
Nice.
saw a dumb meme today that said, "Today we're all 2023 years old. You just have to take the year you were born and add your age, and we'll all get 2023." I'm like, yeah. But anyway, somebody thought it was amazing. That one I get how it works. This one, I don't know. These are
Yeah.
accurate comments. It's dark magic, secrets known only to the Sith, witchcraft.
Yep.
Nice.
But also, we really enjoyed you, Michael, and
Thank you.
Yeah.
can you work it into 1967's Love, which is a very early Harrison Ford movie that I did the play of back in
It involves it
Great.
just for theming. For the next time you're on, for in terms of theming, it involves being backed into a car and then punching the driver. Do we have the clip here? You should at least see the very first on-screen punch of Harrison Ford.
Yes, and you'll never believe who he punches. Who's the first person he ever punched on screen? We do have that. I just have to find it. Where is
Come
it?
on, be
Where
in
is
here, be in here, be in here.
it? Where is he at?
By the way, I found
Where
out
is
you
he
can.
at?
By the way, Paul, I found out we can make separate pages for these drops. I think we have not been.
There he is.
Hi. Oh, what a tasteless thing to do.
Never gets old.
Wait, who was that? Is that
Jack Lemmon.
Jack Lemmon.
Punch
And Elaine
Jack
May.
Lemmon and-
wow?
I love that
All right.
Elaine May is in so few movies, and one of them has Harrison Ford in it.
Oh shoot! I must disappear.
Well, it's
I
hard
got
to
a
believe
thing.
he became Jack Ryan, and we'll tell you all about it here in our thoughts on Clear and Present Danger. But in the meantime, thank you, Michael Gray, everybody. Michael Gray.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Do you have a plug? Is there something to plug? Handle, social?
No,
whatever?
just if you want to see more of my stuff, you can go to Magic by Michael on Instagram or Michael Gray Magic, Gray Magic on TikTok. And you know, Magic by Michael is also my Facebook page where I do magic, and a lot of it is the same because people like different venues, so I put them everywhere. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you're ever in New York City and you hang out at FAO Shores, there's a chance that you might see me demonstrating and performing right in front of you.
Do I have it
Right.
right there below? Magic by Michael on Instagram. Yeah,
Yes,
You have it there.
Magic by Michael on
Okay.
Instagram.
it's very small in your phone.
Okay.
Sorry, but thanks for coming,
Okay.
and I look forward to talking to you again sometime, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I'll vanish now. Just close your eyes. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll close my eyes, and I bet you he's still there when I open my door.
Oh, hey, how does he do it? How does he do it? Get the fuck out of our podcast.
All right. Well, now, look, hey, we're going back
Well, that
to
was
do a
fun.
Harrison Ford movie. It's been a minute since we've done one.
has been.
We've been talking about Dial of Destiny for 2 months and then being out of town for 2 months. But we're on to Clear and Present Danger, which is a great Jack Ryan movie. So we'll give you our thoughts as if, like we always do, as if we're coming out of the recap with big applause, and we'll get down to it. You ready, Adam?
I'm going to hit record on my QuickTime player here, Paul.
As am I.
first.
Everybody loves.
I
the
assume
old
you already
time.
have hit record on yours.
But if everyone loves when we sync our quick times, that's a highlight of the show every week.
Oh, sure. We should come up with some sort of phrase or something to synchronize.
Quick time
But
sync.
I can't think of anything.
Engage. Oh, a Harrison Ford.
Engage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't think of anything that has to be
Quick time
11
in
o'clock. 11, 12. What's he say? What happens at 11 o'clock?
What is that other thing you always play?
See
Where
if
is
it
that?
fits.
This is bizarre. God damn, this is bizarre.
I love that. All right.
On
You ready?
account of bizarre. 1, 2, 3. Bizarre.
This is bizarre. God damn, this is bizarre.
God damn. Oh, how high was he? Hang on, we're everybody get in sync with your QuickTime. What's the matter with you people? Let's go. Move. Do we even have major
Eric.
movement here anymore? Boy, I hope we do.
Oh, it might have gotten dropped out at some point.
Yeah, it might have gotten
I
dropped.
mean, it might have gotten dropped out for almost
Welcome,
anything.
Nicolas Cage.
What is he throwing at everybody? I just got. Is he doing playing card routine as well?
No, I think he's throwing money.
Wow, that's crazy.
Did Letterman miss out by not having Nicolas Cage on early on, or what? Because Letterman would always have really kooky and interesting guests, and it's like, oh, he never had Nicolas Cage on, vintage Nicolas Cage.
He had Crispin Glover kick like that, but at his face. So
yeah, maybe after that. How am I sounding, by the way, Paul?
Great.
Okay. A couple settings I want to make sure I had correct there. All right, so we're talking.
We can throw to the chat. How does Adam sound? What are your thoughts on Adam's voice today?
How do I sound, everybody? Buttery smooth, as you would come to expect on one of today's modern podcasts.
Oh, look, never gets old. Oh, that was for the clip. Sorry, Adam. No one's thought. All right, we ready?
Adam never gets old. Well, that's wrong.
Okay, here we go. All right, everybody. That is Clear and Present Danger, 1994's sequel to Patriot Games with more adventures of Harrison Ford as Jack Ryan, and yet his final adventures as Jack Ryan. It came out August 3rd, so he's still summer guy after that little jaunt into, maybe I'll do a spring movie or a award movie that comes out at the holiday time. But this was an August 3rd bullseye, big-time money season movie for Harrison Ford with a budget of $62 million or $216 million. Adam, which makes it a big hit. But those are some 19.
Wait, what'd you say the budget was?
$62 million.
Whoa, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
I think so for the time. Yeah.
Perhaps.
I don't know. What year was Waterworld? That was when everybody was like, all right, you're spending too much money on movies. Scale it back. Start making a few things for $10 million. Yeah.
The next year. Yeah, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
But earning $260 million, I mean, that's probably what Infinity War cost to make. That's what this earned back in 94.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a PG-13 after it got an R originally, but then they protested. Didn't even make any cuts. The protest was enough to say, look, should be PG-13, and it was. It just is not for kids. It's adult, so they thought it should have been R, even though they don't swear and have a lot of, they swear occasionally, but nothing huge.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a weird thing to say, oh, this should be rated R because kids can't understand the Palestinian conflict or whatever. Like that's the weird, or not Palestinian, but I'm saying some sort of international intrigue. Oh, kids can't understand that. Make it rated R. No, that's not really why we do that.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's what
kids don't know what the CIA is. Rated R.
yeah. But not offensive in any way. And that protest got it back to a PG-13. Where's the first time you saw this movie, Adam?
Clear and Present Danger. This was on video. I somehow missed this one in the theaters, even though I was like there opening day for Patriot Games. And I think it was like, this must be, getting into college and stuff. I feel like I'm seeing a little less movies. So this one I did watch on videotape, rented at Center Stage Video from Oxford, Ohio. And I remember liking it quite a bit. And without like the full context, just like what's interesting is that the attack in this one, the big famous sequence, right, with the rocket attack, I think stands out as being like the whole movie's like that, which is not the case. But in your memory, you're like, oh, this is the one with all the action. You're like, I think there's as much action in this as there is in Patriot Games. If you include like the last act of Patriots Games has as much action as this whole movie,
Yeah, they both kind of have a finale has action. In doing the research about this, Philip Noyce said he regretted never adding more action to the finale. He thought it kind of petered out, whereas that centerpiece that you already referenced with the SUV attack was so big, and they had John Milius come in and oversee that sequence after.
Oh, that's amazing.
writing
because he's one of the writers on this.
Yes. Donald Stewart, who wrote the first one and won an Oscar for Missing. Speaking of our routine bring up of Jack Lemmon, he wrote that. And then, the story on that is Donald Stewart added more Jack Ryan to the story. I guess the book is very Clark heavy, the Willem Dafoe character. And
okay.
Clancy hated it. He hated Patriot Games. He hated everything. But Paramount brought him around.
I hate all this money they keep backing up in a truck and dropping on my driveway. Enough. Stop giving me money.
They gave him more, and he quieted down. And then Steve Zalian rewrote yet again. And there was one final rewrite after negative test screenings, which I can't imagine. It's a pretty likable movie for its genre.
So this is Steven Zalian off the book of Schindler's List, because Schindler's List wouldn't have... Is this 94? Or this is...
Schindler's List was 93, so he's...
Oh, okay. This is post Schindler's List. Gotcha.
Yeah, but where he's writing is probably late in the process, so they brought him in because he probably just won the Oscar. Maybe.
Yeah.
Or he was nominated at least by that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw this
quite a crew of writers.
Yeah, and Emilius as well. Here's actually how it goes down. John McTiernan wanted to do this movie after The Hunt for Red October, but John Milius' script was rejected, and so the producers moved on to Patriot Games without McTiernan. And then Milius was brought in to oversee the SUV sequence, like I mentioned, because it's not in the book. He added that. Huh. So, he'll bring in more action. You don't have to convince Milius to make it more manly.
Yeah.
Which he did.
The most famous sequence in this is pure Milius.
Yeah, pretty much. And and I was mentioning I saw it in the Poconos. I was working at a Renaissance fair at the time.
Of course you were.
And here's a lousy sign. Here's a lousy sign of the
classic Paul.
Time. Yeah. If the passage of time already doesn't make you sad, this place I saw it was called the Foxmoor Cinemas. It eventually became the Pocono Movieplex, and now is closed.
Oh.
So,
Paul, while I was in Chicago, I meant to text you. I stayed right around the corner from the old McClurg Court. I was one street down from McClurg Court. I passed where McClurg Court in Chicago used to be. Over and over and over in that area. I meant to take a photo of that. The other thing was the sign for the Esquire is still up, but it is nothing but really high-end posh stores. But they left the Esquire sign up. I have a photo to send you of me under the Esquire and pointing at a boutique clothing shop. And I was going to text you. I can't see the first Austin Powers here.
Braveheart, I think for me, right? That was the north end of Magnificent Mile, correct?
Right. Very top there was, the Esquire. And I remember seeing Austin Powers there, I'm pretty sure with you and Dave Sachs. And quite a few others. That was a good one.
Which one was the John Dillinger Theater where he was shot?
That was across from the Three Penny? Or, no, there were two theaters there. It was a Three Penny, and across from Three Penny was... I can't remember the name of that, Paul. It was a Cineplex when I moved.
It was a single... Yeah, I saw Twister there, among other things. It was a single screen place.
Right?
That
it's like an
60
Odeon.
Years previous, it was shot down.
Yeah.
Telegraph.
Okay, right. There's the Telegraph is across from another theater. So one had a single screen, and then across from it, for a little while, I saw Rushmore there, had multiple screens, and that was an Odeon. Do you remember this?
Kind of. I think it's crazy how you can remember where you saw a specific movie. I remember where I saw Married to the Mob. Absolutely. I do. I don't know why. I do.
Yeah. Oh, I know. And I think our audience would I'm sorry, we're off the script right now. Or off the topic for the moment. But I think our audience in the company we keep are the sort of people who be like, oh yeah, Last Boy Scout. I saw that at the Princess Theaters 3 with Andy Enninger, which is true. I did.
Yeah, I saw Goodfellas in the Webster Place in Buffalo with a double feature with Hardware. a bad sci-fi movie that was so terrible. It just made Goodfellas look
but a
all
famous
better.
director. But a famous director.
Kind of.
Isn't Hardware the guy that went on to not direct Island of Dr. Moreau? Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, maybe.
Might be. You wouldn't have known that at the time, or would
Right.
not have made that any better at the time. But wait, you had a Webster Place in New York as well? Because, of course, we had a Webster Place.
No, that's
Webster
Chicago.
Place is in Chicago.
What
That's
am I
where
thinking?
Webster Place is where one might see. What's that? What's the movie where Whoopi Goldberg pretends to be a guy?
Not Made in America.
The Negotiator, the something, the Associate,
Berkeley? Oh, The Associate.
the Associate. Right. That's a great movie to see at Webster Place. Also, the first Mission Impossible. The first movie I think I
told you
saw when I
about-
moved to Chicago.
I told you about my experience there, right? Where I lived there and I went to Webster Place all the time and I've used the bathrooms there many times. This will become relevant because I went away and I came back to Chicago. I think after I worked on a cruise ship, saw one movie there, went into the bathroom, but the men's bathroom was now the women's bathroom. But I didn't look at the signs because I just know where the bathroom is at Webster Place. And I went and I used the bathroom, number 2, in the stall. And I got out and I looked down the hall and I saw a woman and there's nothing but stalls. And I did like shit. And I ran out and like nobody saw me except I went and I took a dump in the ladies' room. But you can't do that. You can't switch the genders of the. You can't. It like unless there's a sign like on the door. So
Well, now you can, obviously. Now they have, yeah. But
Yeah,
also, Paul, you remember at the Esquire, if you're walking off of Michigan Avenue, you're walking to the Esquire, the end of that street is another street, and if you took a left, at one time there was a really terrible Cineplex Odeon on that next street. And I remember seeing, at this time, I would leave my job every day as I first moved to Chicago, and I would thought I had to see every new release. This was like my mania at the time. This is right when we were meeting. And I'm like, well, Extreme Measures is out. I've got to go see this. And I don't even remember why I had to go see Extreme Measures. I'm like, I don't know. It's a new, what's my in on that? But I remember going to this movie, that Odeon that was going to be torn down any day. It was a weird, I think it was the $1 cinema at the time or something like that. And I remember the bathroom floors were always wet. Just wet, and the stickiest floors of any movie theater. And all I can remember is that there was a poster for the Mario Van Peebles movie Solo in the hallway, was one detail I remembered of it. And I'm like, I don't know, this all fits together. The wet bathrooms, the sticky floors, and Solo coming soon. I don't know why.
is that where he's a robot?
Probably a good place to see. One could assume. I don't know. I actually don't know. Where were we?
I don't know, but I just looked up real quick movie theaters in Buffalo. So wherever I saw Goodfellas, it must not exist anymore because I remember where it was and it's not coming up in the map. Another sign.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I saw
But I will tell
Goodfellas
you
at the Princess Theaters 4 as well, and my mom took a photo of the marquee that day. So we have this great photo of all 4 movies that were showing exactly when we went to go see Goodfellas, like AM thing. It's a great movie theater marquee photo.
Yeah, it's always weird what else was playing. In fact, we'll get back to that when it comes to Clear and Present Danger here in a bit. But I should tell you, all the girls at the Ren Fair loved Chavez, the rogue, sort of, not rogue, but the lone survivor of the Marines that get picked off by the cartel guys in this movie. And eventually, what it was interesting to find out when I looked him up was he became Tuco on Breaking Bad. So that actor,
That's
super young,
Tuco?
long time ago. Tuco was also Chavez in Clear and Present Danger. But I have to wonder if all the girls still had a thing for Chavez when he was Tuco. You know, like 5-6 years ago, were they going, oh, Tuco? Because, boy, they were like, Chavez! Oh, we love Chavez. They loved him so much. Which is interesting.
Well, in this movie...
Brad is right there.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Gosh, yes, that would be a good role for him as well. But basically, they do turn him into a Rambo at the end of this movie, because the end of this movie is like, you know, trying to save these people that have been that have gone in clandestinely, and now they're going to be killed, and he's like holding his own at the end of the battle. It's a very Rambo ending, you know.
Yeah. And what happens before we get there? Well, it's still a lot of military and Washington stuff. The personal vendetta of something like Patriot Games kind of stepped aside. And to me, that kind of adultifies this movie a little more than Patriot Games. Whereas Patriot Games, you know, was like, we got the IRA politics, but it's mainly a revenge. Like, you know, Sean Bean
Right.
needed revenge on Harrison Ford. This was like all politics. It's like, we're doing this plan to take out the cartels, and it's illegal, and can Ryan find out, and where will that lead us during the movie? So a little different
Right.
than the last one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
he's
And
full-
he's
Go ahead.
what's that?
He's full analyst in this one, which is interesting.
Yes.
The first time he
He
was
puts
kind
the
of
anal and
flirty-
analyst in this one.
because the first time he was really like that was in Hunt for Red October, when Alec Baldwin played him kind of mousy. Patriot Games, he was a little more manly, but now he's gone back to, like, being in meetings and being uncomfortable talking to the president and all that.
Yeah, no, he's I would say too wimpy in this one. I think Patriot Games coming off of just him coming off this phase 3 where he's expanded his range. In Patriot Games, he's giving you a different type of action movie with the family and all that sort of stuff. And here, I think they've just wimpified him too much. I mean, one of the things we love is, hey man, at some point he's going to blow up. And everybody's going to regret it, and they're going to get the full force Harrison Ford yell. They're going to get a point. They're going to get some righteous anger, all this sort of stuff. And that does happen. But, boy, the lead up to it, you're like, oh, my God, he's such a wuss. He's just too wimpy. He's too wimpy. You're like, come on, get in, get your back in the game, until they force him to, of course, like the other one. But
Yeah, they even put the wife and kid aside. They're an afterthought in this movie, so he could have
Yeah.
adventures, and he still is a wuss.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, and the Patriot Games was all about the wife and the family. I mean, I'm glad that I saw them, but I wouldn't say a complaint is like, oh, they should have a whole plot line. It's like, no, this movie is just clearly not about that. In fact, it's barely about Jack Ryan. It really is about the troop insertion, the Contras, let's call them what it is, into South America, right?
Yeah. But and no surprise here in that drug family, Escobedo, played by what's his name, Miguel Sandoval.
Okay.
It's Pablo Escobar. He's playing Pablo.
Right, Escobedo. I put two and two together there.
Another great entrance for Ford, though. They say Jack, and he turns the camera, and he's filming the screen, and it's another great entrance.
The entrance, man. It's so good.
Yeah, and eventually he becomes the deputy director of intelligence, which I think is a first in Ford's career, but another great white collar role that he's outstanding at. It's what he does.
He just keeps, he's not been president yet,
Right.
but he is a knight, and now he is the deputy director of intel. That's way up there, right?
Yeah, it's interesting that he never followed the Jack Ryan character through to president, because I think he becomes president. I certainly remember I believe it's. There's another book soon after this where he becomes vice president. I didn't read the books. We're movie guys. I didn't read all of them.
And then judge. No, that's presumed innocent. He becomes a judge.
Yeah.
Hey, it's interesting you mentioned that, though, that he, because the thing that's always been a little disappointing is Harrison Ford never gets a trilogy out of this character. You're like, oh, he's the trilogy guy, and we're happy to see him back in a franchise. But you're like, he did two and done, and then he's got to share that with Alec Baldwin, who's not really an action trilogy guy anyway. I mean, this might be the only trilogy he's involved in, And so I do love the side stealth idea that the third in the trilogy is Air Force One. That I'm now going to be looking for clues in Air Force One of well, could it be him, or is he more of an affable American president character? I've forgotten, but
Yeah, I wonder if they reference how he came to win the election. If it was through, this sort of military and intelligence wing, or if he did something else, if he was a senator, or what. I have to find out.
Yeah.
We'll have
that's
to
why I
watch
haven't
it.
seen that movie in a long time. We'll have to watch it.
More about the making of the movie. They didn't film in Colombia
Please.
because it was a bit too much, so they shot in Mexico. And part of the footage was destroyed by the '94 Northridge earthquake. They had to do
Oh my
some
God.
reshoots.
What?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah,
Wow. So
I
it was in
wonder
some
if-
storage facility that got crushed or something, or yeah.
I guess so.
Huh.
Maybe it was transit
Wow.
and because the only thing I remember from it was just before
Where should we store this footage? Right under the highway.
That's the thing. That's the shot I always remember of the earthquake, because I wasn't living out here. I didn't come out for another
No.
6 years after that. But I remember that shot of the overpass just fell flat on a car or two, and I was like, "Wow, that's so." Even when I'm under an
that's-
overpass now, I get a little wigged out. I want to get out
Yeah.
from under there as quick as possible. But
Right.
yeah, if it was in some truck and then just there goes all your footage, because it was no doubt filmed back then.
Yeah, right. It did. That's probably the problem. It just cracked open something that exposed it, and that's it. You know,
Yeah.
it didn't have to destroy it. It just had to expose it, probably.
And I'll let you elaborate on this, Adam, because
Okay.
the internet claims some of James Horner's score is based on his own music from Gorky Park, but he played different instruments, so it sounded different. But IMDb is further claiming that there were direct lifts from Aliens and Patriot Games. And I remember when we watched Patriot Games, you thought for sure that they lifted from Aliens. So now we're 3 deep in Horner lifting. Possible?
Yes, 100% possible, especially with James Horner. It's very possible. And when I first started getting into soundtracks and scores, that was disconcerting. I was like, oh, wow, that's just a total riff from this other movie or whatever. But the more you get into James Horner, the more that is very enjoyable, because they're the big markers, like say between Patriot Games and Braveheart, right? By the time you get to Braveheart, you have a very different James Horner score. And so you start with like Star Trek 2 and to Patriot Games, you've got a range in there as well. And in between there's little lifts and borrows so that there's a slow crossfade. And if you do like James Horner, I highly suggest the soundtrack to the movie Krull, because he did that in between Star Trek 2 and Aliens. And it is the perfect, if you were to take the music and just slowly crossfade from one movie to the other, the middle would be Krull, and it's glorious. And it's like plays like outtakes of either of those movies, and it's wonderful. But yeah, literal lifts. And it's this twirl he does, and I'm not prepared with clips here, and maybe next time I want to do a game of which James Horner movie is this piece of music from. But there is a particular... Huh?
Could you take music from one film and put the score from a different film underneath it, and it makes sense? I'd be curious.
You absolutely could. There's this little flourish in Aliens when they're looking around for the aliens. There's a boom, 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 this sort of thing. And man, you hear that all over this movie. You heard it all over Patriot Games. Patriot Games that was the first time I believe he's using Irish instruments, because the IRA thing, that's going to start a crossfade all the way to Braveheart, all the way to Titanic, actually, Yeah,
because it's interesting, because you're talking about how these early 80s ones sort of lift each other, but then and into the 90s. But then by mid-90s, Braveheart, so Titanic then didn't go back and lift from pre-Braveheart, but it lifted from Braveheart on. So, and here's
true.
Here's what we're talking about, I think, if I may. Maybe not. That's a little more military specific sounding, but
that's not it. However, that the little bells you hear at the end of that, not exactly that sound, but that is a very present thing in Aliens as well. Yeah. For the next show, I'll prepare some clips here, because it's very fascinating, because it's just such a literal lift, and it doesn't help in Clear and Present Danger. It's just like, what I got lying around here to kind of fill in the gaps. How about that part from Aliens where it goes, pew! I don't know if that goes here, but yeah.
It was fun watching the bonus features.
Rest in peace.
We watched this on DVD, and the mansion they blow up at one point that Escobedo's on his way to, and he watches it explode. It's an awesome explosion.
Yeah,
was real. There was a divorcee who left her marriage and said, "Yeah, go ahead, blow up the house." So they did.
Oh
She
my
wanted it
God!
gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
But wow, that's the best divorce story. I mean, being able to and having it photographed. It's one thing to burn a house down. Most people who burn a house down don't photograph it or shoot it because they're trying to hide from their crime or whatever. She had actual film shot from actual helicopters of like, here's your fucking house. You know, like who gets to do that? She's like, oh, by the way, that house, here you go, in 12 angles from helicopters.
And she doesn't have social media. She's sending a videotape to the guy, you know, like,
Oh, yeah. No social media.
and what is this?
Here's, oh, it's my house. Oh, it's beautiful. Shot from a helicopter. Oh, how wonderful. I wonder why she'd send this to me since I cheated on her.
Speaking of which, no CGI means they also blew up helicopters,
Nope.
planes, and SUVs. Like there's no skating
Yeah.
around that for a movie like this, and it feels all the more visceral to me when you blow up a house, SUV, a helicopter, and a plane.
Right. And and I think part of it is because when there's a concussive force of an explosion, the camera shakes, but digital cameras never do. So when there's a concussive force of an explosion, you get that, you know. But they never add that in the digital. It's always perfectly, but yeah, when you get the real explosion, it's like, ooh, you kind of feel it because the camera gets shaken, you know.
They do love to add.
And there's a lot of that.
Blood on the lens. That's a thing they love to do. But
Yeah, they've finally gotten that effect is finally good. I remember having a discussion a decade or so ago with you, Paul, where it's just like after we left a movie where there was a lot of digital blood, it's like, what's with the digital blood? They're acting like it works. Like we can't, like that is just the worst effect, and they just use it over and over and over.
I may know what that was. Was it 13 Assassins? It might be. I think
Maybe something like that. Yeah.
Any real blood in that, and they were killing each other like crazy.
Yeah.
So but there were computers in one of our favorite sequences, #computer fight, when
Computer fight.
Harrison Ford's trying to break into Ritter, played by Henry Journey, his computer,
Oh,
and of course
Journey,
it's all mid '90s technology, so it's like hard typing and trying to get in there, and he's deleting files while it's all that.
Oh, I'll type harder than you. Ooh, I'm gonna mouse faster than you. You can't mouse as fast as I can type. Yeah, you're cutting back and forth between screens, and it's trying to bring the excitement of the drone. The drone attack, not the drone attack, but in Patriot games when the drone is seeing the soldiers, right? So they know they want a techno moment like that, and that's the Tom Clancy thing. This is how they do it in this one, and it's just people typing harder than each other. And you're like, oh, I don't know, Harrison Ford seems like he's typing awful hard. That's probably going to block the folder from Henry Cherney typing very hard as well.
The funny thing is, Clancy didn't ask for this. Apparently, in the book, Ryan just breaks into Ritter's safe. But they said, hey, we have
That's
technology
classic.
now, let's do this. Yeah, so
Oh,
anyway.
right.
And
And
of
you're
course-
on the edge of what was that Michael Crichton movie with the virtual reality with the Disclosure? You're on the verge of disclosure in the net. You know, like your computers are going to be a real hot topic, or they are already a real hot topic, but nobody knows how to shoot them. At this time, people have like computer screens projected on their face still. Remember that era? Where if you're on a computer, the computer screen would be projected onto your face, blinding you. The worst idea for a monitor. It projects into your eyes.
And at some point, we're going to have to share on the Ford Fiesta Live Monday live stream the animatics previs that we also saw in the bonus features, because this is like
Yes.
90s previs. It was so hacky, but it was great. They mapped out everything they wanted to do. Because fun fact actually is they went to Bogota and saw the kind of streets they wanted to have for the SUV sequence, where Harrison Ford and the director of the FBI, I believe, and some other characters get attacked with rocket launchers.
Caught in an alley with all
Yeah.
these guys on the rooftops, which is the cool thing is the choreography of that, because like, oh, you are screwed. Like anytime where you watch a movie and you're like, oh, he could get out of there or whatever, and you're like, oh, no. They are funneled into a kill zone, and there's nothing but people, not with machine guns. They all have rocket launchers running a rooftop to rooftop above them. That's really, really well done.
And what was fascinating in the extras was that was all built. They wanted to keep it in Mexico, so
Okay.
they built what the street looked like with sets. So the guys running on the rooftops. There's no building there; it's just a rooftop that they're running along, and the whole road and all the walls of the buildings on the side of it, all built, all a set. Crazy.
Just all flats.
62 million.
Yeah.
Maybe there's your $62 million budget. Yes. But speaking of sets, because I love movie locations, I wasn't aware Jack Ryan's house is in Hancock Park here in LA, but you wouldn't know.
Hancock Park, that's the first neighborhood I lived in.
Yeah. Was it really?
In Hancock Park, down there, like around Western and Beverly-ish. I feel like the street above our things said Hancock Park.
Yeah, but I think you would have been. Yeah, it might have been on the eastern edge of it, just in the edge of Koreatown. Were you talking about like on Oakdale or whatever it was called? Oakwood?
Yeah, Oakwood.
Yeah.
I thought the street sign over there said Hancock, but maybe. Well, you're right. Actually, no. You walk a little bit and then Hancock. We were just on the outside of it, but yeah. Well, that's a great neighborhood, actually.
Yeah, well, a big mansion. You know, there's some serious mansions in there, like Steph's house, James Spader's place from Pretty in Pink is in there. So there's big mansions, but they only shot in the interior, so you wouldn't know driving by. But pretty cool to find that out. The Ford loved that location so much he tried to buy it. The owners said no. Huh. They bought it in 1983 for $800,000, sold it in 2012 for $4.32 million. So they just weren't up for giving it to Harrison
Ford. That
Ford.
neighborhood did blow up.
Yeah, and apparently the Oval Office in this movie is the same one from Dave, like the same set that came out a year before. So
I had that thought at the time. A great investment would be to build a permanent White House that people can shoot in, because I'd seen this, Dave, Nixon, and I was like,
so the West Wing,
yeah, and then the West Wing. I was like, oh man, you could make a ton of money. Like, hey, there's a White House sitting right here. You're going to shoot 12 White House movies a year, clearly.
Yeah, make a buck. Now, Adam, this is interesting because I thought this was the better of the two movies back in '94 between Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger. But now you brought up a lot of thoughts when we were watching this recently, that the photography is boring, and that kind of, then I started watching it like that, and I was like, wow, yeah, there isn't a whole lot visually that draws you into this movie or says much about what's happening. Robert McAlpine shot it. He also shot Parenthood, Moon Over Parador, and Down and Out in Beverly Hills, Moscow on the Hudson. So not like photography rich movies. But after this, he shot Moulin Rouge and Romeo and Juliet, but also Stepmom and 9 Months. So I don't know. It's very 90s looking. Your thoughts?
Yeah. I think the two movies you mentioned there that are what we would call have great photography, Romeo and Juliet and Moulin Rouge. I think that is a heavily post-processed look in that. That every frame of those two movies is touched and touched and touched and touched. So I don't know how much the guy who had to... I have a feeling honestly, as a photographer, Baz Luhrmann probably would have said, expose broadly, there's going to be a lot of post on this. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to make everything look really so exposed broadly. So he actually might have gotten hired for those two visual spectaculars because he shoots so broadly. But, I mean, this movie looked like General Hospital or something. I mean, it was just like... Not that I expect from a Tom Clancy movie to be necessarily that's the point of artistry. And you know, a couple of the first things you mentioned there too, Moscow on the Hudson and some of those earlier movies, you know, they didn't really try and shoot movies that good sometimes back then. Like, being shot was good enough for a lot of movies. Like, you would get the Conrad Halls and people like that would turn in this amazing photography, and everything else was shot. I'll concur. It exposed properly, but you know, like, you know, is Chud or Gorky Park or I don't know. Like, it's like it's all kind of just shot pretty plainly. Just make sure it's exposed. The producers would just like some exposure and not to have to reshoot anything, you know. So I feel like he does come from an era where it's like, just shoot it, no nuance to that. Now, having said that, I don't know if I can say the Patriot Games has all this nuance to it, but certainly at the end, the suspense is based on what they can and can't see. That's the much more active photography in that. But also, I felt like Philip Noyce had so much more energy in Patriot Games. So much less energy in this. It felt very phoned in by him, because we're coming off a couple European style, filmmakers, where like Patriot Games is throwing down its cards to say, we're not your typical action movie. We're not your typical Harrison Ford movie in a number of ways. One of those is we're not going to show you the action in a typical way. We stated in that after a giant car chase, mainstay of, you know, Harrison Ford action movies, we saw his car work in Love. You know, the guy can drive. But in that movie, he gets out of his car on a packed highway and sees smoke in the distance. That's all the car wreck that's not all the car wreck you get to see, but that distance is a purpose, is of a point. And none of that in this movie. This is what you see is what you get. There is no nuance. Nothing's being withheld as much. But then beyond that, yeah, it's shot like, I don't know, Tootsie. It's just shot.
I did appreciate it's familiar editing. It's right out of the Godfather baptism sequence, but you got Greer's funeral coupled with the gunning down of the Marines by the cartel.
Right.
That was played.
Right.
Talk about an artistic choice. There's one, but they weren't as plentiful as they have been in some of other Ford's movies, like Witness or something.
Well, thank you for bringing that up too, Paul, because that was clearly some technique and rote technique. Like, this is the thing where we cut back and forth. It just didn't feel like it had any sort of like, I'm getting this contrast. I'm not feeling it. Maybe I was a little cynical at that point because some of it was just sort of like passionless, rote kind of like sequencing. You're like, this is the sequence where we go back and forth between these two things. But you're like, yeah, but I can see the seams here. Like, I can see that you're doing that. Like a Christopher Nolan film, again, I'm not going to compare this to, a film that's obviously far greater or something like that. But, the reason people later on, like the Batman the Dark Knight, they go, Joker's plan never could have worked after watching it for the 100th time. Oh, good for you. You didn't catch it the first 2 times in the theater. Then what's, what am I going to pat you in the back or whatever? But that, the reason he gets away with lying to the audience, which is all filmmaking is, he's a great liar because he sequences things in ways that fold them in that make you go, oh, that was a sequence. No, those easily could have been 2 completely different shot scenes that could have went back and back to each other that got montaged. Here that's being done, but just because? That's what it felt like to me. It didn't smooth it over, It actually made it look a little more rough in some ways. I don't want to be too cruel to the movie, but rubbed me the wrong way.
I got about 5 or 10 more minutes.
All right.
See if we can wrap up through our final thoughts on this.
Okay.
You called this a that guy salad, and you're correct. Character actor guys are all over this thing, from Henry Journey, from otherwise known in the Mission Impossible films, Harris Yulin, who has played everything. You'll know him probably in a big way as the judge from Ghostbusters 2, hands down.
Yes.
Bondi
oh my
Curtis
God. What of that
Falls,
guy?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Rex Lynn,
yes.
who even showed up recently as the head of Mesa Verde Bank in Better Call Saul. The guy's played a cop and everything, and sure enough, he's the investigator of Moira's murder in this film. And there's even some That Girls with Ann Magnuson and Hope Lang, and Dean Jones, the Shaggy DA, is in this movie, so it's got everything.
Dean Jones. Paul, this is God bless watching a movie with you, because this. When I'm watching this with you, and in my head, I'm going, who is that? Who is that? I know that face. Who is that? And I'm getting completely distracted. And you go, hey, Shaggy DA. I'm like, that's it. That's it. And Herbie,
Yeah.
He's like the king of that guys, man. That's awesome that he's in this.
Yeah, the career just kept going after a bunch of Disney movies. He shows up in a Tom Clancy film. I mean, that's credit to him, And then Donald Moffat.
Oh, Donald Moffat here. Let's bring up a photo of Donald Moffat. I added one. We were going to do a game, but you got to get going here. But the classic, that guy here. This computer's too slow. I don't think I can do this. But we are going to play a game next week, which is Donald Moffat or what did I call it? Yeah,
Donald Moffat.
Donald Moffat, James Rebhorn, or Bruce McGill.
Yeah.
And then I have another game called Powers Booth, Craig T. Nelson, or John Hurd. So we'll play that
James
next week.
Remar in there? Okay.
Ooh. Well, could be.
I messed
got a whole
up
week.
Powers Booth and James Remar and the Schmodown, so what are you going to do?
And you had the best line walking off of the set of getting that wrong. You had the best line. The first thing, this is at the Schmodown, they asked you a question and the answer was James Remar. You said Powers Booth, right? Answer's Powers Booth.
Other way around.
You said James, yeah. And you walked off, and the first thing you said to me, you go, James Remar, Powers Booth. That's a push. For all intents and purposes, they are the same. Come on.
Yeah. By the way, the chat's chiming in for great Harris Yulin performances. May I recommend Stuart Saves His Family, the Harold Ramis movie about Stuart Smalley with Al Franken. He plays Al Franken's dad. He couldn't be more counter to Stuart Smalley. Harris Yulin is just gruff, and he's a big, the total opposite of Stuart, and they get a lot of comedy mileage out of that.
Smythe with the call here. Night Moves. Oh my gosh, Night Moves. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
You've seen that,
want
Paul.
Harris Yulin sexually. Wow. You probably saw it at the New Beverly, right?
Night Moves? No, never seen it on the screen. I've only seen it on video.
Seems like a thing that would play there.
Great Gene Hackman, sure.
And then other faces, Clark Gregg.
The Ernest Scared Stupid of the Gene Hackman movies.
Check to see he's not in that.
I know he's.
Clark Gregg shows up for like a line. Yeah, Agent Coulson.
Love that.
From Marvel movies. Benjamin Bratt.
Sealing the that guy status of this. Oh, yeah.
And Ted Raimi reprises his role from Patriot Games.
I love that.
As a tech guy, computer nerd. So that's fun.
Could have gotten anybody to do that. Like it was such a small part. It was like bringing him back to bring him back. It was like, oh, it's good to see Ted Raimi. They didn't have to, but they did.
Now, Rotten Tomatoes disagrees with you. 81% of the critics give it a positive review, whereas Patriot Games only got 72%. But of course, Cinema Score audiences give it an A. So people always disagree with the critics.
Yeah,
and this film is no different.
I was pretty surprised, Paul, when I ranked this in my Harrison Ford rankings, which I think we should do next week. We'll have to put this on the big board, like we have we finished? Oh, we have to do our bottom like 5 or whatever, but then we can put it on the big board after that and see where it goes. Because I was surprised because the big board looks good, Colonel. But I'm always surprised when I go to Letterboxd and I put in my brand new Harrison Ford movie in order that we're doing here, and it goes in at the bottom, and I go, do I like it more than Heroes? And I'm like, I do. And I just keep going up and up and up, and you're like, and this one I expected to keep going a little further, and I was like, oh no. It's like it's fairly low based on the Phase 3 output. I think everything in Phase 3 beats this movie, which I'm surprised. But.
Oh. Wow, yeah, I'm shocked the revisit didn't blow me away like it did the first time. But
right, I love it.
Was number one at the box office.
Cool.
Adam, tell me what it beat on its way to number 1 at the box office.
I love this game, Paul. May I request a full version of What Beat It Summer Blockbuster Game? This is the best format that we've never committed to a full game. What in the summer of 94, right? So August of 94, right. This is going to beat.
There were 2. I'll give you a hint. There were 2 movies hanging around and 1 new release that it beat.
Okay, hanging around. Lion King.
That's a great guess, but not that late in the summer. No, that came out.
Yeah, that's way early. June. I just wondered if it had legs. Too much legs. 94, this is going to beat a... oh my gosh, 94. Congo? I think I'm too early for Congo.
It beat The Mask and Forrest Gump.
Oh, wow. Whoa! Buried both those.
Well, they were around 2 weeks and 2 months already. But the new release
right.
Not too surprisingly, was The Little Rascals. So it beat that.
Oh, The Little Rascals. Which people love now, by the way. There is no movie that can't be loved within the fullness of time. Yeah, there is no movie that can't be loved with given the fullness of time. So what's the point in disliking any movie? Is my philosophy.
But here's America's second favorite game show. It's called What Beat It at the Oscars? Because best sound.
Or what was it even up for at the Oscars?
Best sound and best sound effects editing. Not surprised. Technically, it was a well put together movie on the audio side. But it lost to the same movie in 94. Ooh. Which film beat it?
Which film beat it for sound and sound effect editing? 94. This is going to be the year after Jurassic Park. What's going to be the big summer? Hard Target.
No. Speed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was the wave of the future for action movies that year, huh?
Yeah.
Speed would come to define like what action movies are going to be like for the next 5 years.
But it never quite. Well, speaking of Keanu Reeves, Savoy Pictures paid $2.5 million for the rights to Without Remorse. Eventually, that movie was made. I think, wasn't it? Did that come out on Amazon?
Did they regret it? See what I
Well,
did there?
it never was made. Reeves was going to play Clark, the faux character. Yeah, they have remorse about that because it never happened, and they spent $2.5 million for nothing. So.
Okay, so I can tell I love, and I think it's a great topic at some point, the side characters that were totally going to get a spin-off. And the first one everybody thinks of is Jinx from Die Another Day. Totally going to get. They even put her M in Die Another Day because they were so certain Michael Madsen and Jinx were going to have their own movie. This one as well, right? He was going to get his own series. Is that what you were saying there? That Clark was going to get his own spin-off?
Well, he appears in so many other movies. In fact, as I mentioned, he's featured more in Clear and Present Danger than Jack Ryan. So they thought by the time he was the lead character of a book in Without Remorse, they'd elevate to a celebrity to play him that's bigger than Defoe. So they got Keanu Reeves, but it never happened. Yeah. So that's, I think.
So if we were to make an analogy, with Fletch, he would be the Flynn of the Fletch world, right? If Gregory McDonald were Tom Clancy, sorry, I had to go very deep there.
You did.
Cut that part out.
And no one ever made The Cardinal of the Kremlin, which was actually the direct book sequel to The Hunt for Red October. So that never got made either. There's a whole lot of Clancy sitting out there that didn't get made, even though it feels like a lot did.
Yeah.
And that
didn't get turned into a video game.
Yeah, which they've done. Yes. The Ford definitive list of essentials then brings us to him having righteous anger. Yes, because his big point is in the accusation scene with Ritter after he hacks his computer and says, "You broke the law," and then he tells him everything. Point. It's crazy pointing.
How many points are in that scene? That's insane.
It kind of just doesn't stop. I don't even know when he puts his hand down. He keeps.
He never actually puts his hand down. It just stays there. Yeah, it's either 1 or 20. It's either 1 or 20.
He doesn't really have smile or charm, except for one brief moment.
Completely absent.
He shouts throughout the SUV attack, and of course through the "you broke the law." But he's like, "Back up!" through that whole thing. Dan dies. We all love Dan. You think, Dan.
Damn.
But overall, it brings us to 6 punches, all punching Felix, the sort of crafty second in command to Escobedo. And so he punches him once, then he gets into a big fight and he hits him 5 more times. So he doesn't punch anybody else but Felix. But that puts 5 on the board. That puts 5 on the board, and now through 29 movies, we have broken 100. It's 101 total punches for Harrison Ford.
Oh, thank you for keeping track of that. I knew we were excited when we broke 100. So Clear and Present Danger, he breaks 100. It goes to 101. Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. Do you have the script or no?
I do.
Okay.
I don't have my second screen here, so I gotta go over here. Okay.
Oh, that's right. Pull the last 3 lines and wrap it up, and I gotta get out of here.
Well, yeah, and you got to get out of here. It's a preview. Time. It's a preview for next week, Paul. Does the Last Boy Scout feature James Rebhorn, Donald Moffat, or Bruce McGill?
Oh. I still have never seen it.
Oh, it's an easy one. It's McGill. Okay. You've never seen that? Oh,
it doesn't seem like a Moffat movie.
No. It's such a McGill movie. That's what's fun about that little thing I put together for next week. All right, here we go. So yeah, career total today, 101. And that wraps up Clear and Present Danger.
And Harrison Ford's run as Jack Ryan.
And Jack Ryan's run as far as we're concerned. What is this? The Pine Party? The Affleck After Party? Nah. We'll see you next time.
There we go. All right, I got to get the hell out of here.
Paul, you get out of here. I'm going to respond to the people who have said some nice things here.
I could run through all this stuff, but I would hate to leave it not run through. So if you want to do it, feel free, and I am gone. But farewell, everybody. Thanks for tuning in as ever.
Later, Paul. All right, so let's thank you for Brennan Marr for popping in. Yes, happy birthday to Brennan Marr. And I did not know that was the 105 in Speed. I have a feeling that's something Paul would know absolutely. But yeah, obviously very famous. So wait, so at what junction in the 105? See, now the next time I'm on the 105, I'm like, I got to find out exactly where that cement part would be, where the bus would have went off of. That's a good location. I always go for the tiny little locations, but the 105, that's a big location. Jan de Bont, of course, and a little hello there. I love this. William Harold. Trivia. Who is the only cast member from the Little Rascals to be impeached twice? I'm assuming Donald Trump has worked his way into that movie the way he has. So part of Little Rascals takes place on one of the Trump properties? I guess so. And yes, of course, R.I.P. to Donald Moffat. Again, next week, I'll play one with the crowd here if anybody wants to while I'm wrapping it up here. If anybody else would like to tell me, does this movie star Powers Booth, Craig T. Nelson, or John Hurd? Turner and Hooch. All right, I'll let the audience... Does Turner and Hooch feature Craig T. Nelson, John Hurd, or Powers Booth? I'll let you weigh in. Let's see what other... thank you all for being patient while we sort of discuss that there. It's largely for the podcast. So we don't really say hi to you guys as much here. Yes, quite a budget there. All right, yeah, and yes, I did live in Koreatown, close to Hancock Park. And, of course, we love the net and all of our 90s. And the one thing I will say also when we're talking about this is that at some point there is the definitive 1990s movie where it just, I don't know what the 90s movies did, but whatever was done, however those felt, the net nails it, Clear and Present Danger nails it. And again, it's like something plainly shot, plainly told about it. Whoever the director of the, and we have Craig T. Nelson. We have a 3-way tie. Well, I won't do a tiebreaker. We're going to play that next week. Again, that game is called James Rebhorn, Donald Moffat, Bruce McGill, Powers Booth, or Craig T. Nelson, or Bruce Greenwood, or Richard Jenkins. So the That Guy game, I think we're going to call that. But anyway, yes, thank you guys for being in the chat and everything like that, and enjoying our magician. I'll throw this back up there. Oh no, I like this one here. Dark magic, secrets known only to the Sith. I believe that's a real quote. And that's going to do it for me as well. I'm going to go prep that game. And I don't know if you know this. I've locked my real computer. I'm on my laptop right here. I've locked my computer in the closet when I left last time on vacation. So I figured out how to pick a lock, I think. So I'm going to go try and pick that lock, and then I will have all the clips and stuff from that computer available next time we do this here. And let me just find the outro here. But thank you all once again for watching the Ford Fiesta Live and enjoying the podcast. And I didn't get to tell Paul this, but I'm almost done with Frantic. And then, so we're going to get the podcast feed back up, and you guys will go, oh, I remember a year ago when they talked about Frantic. Not Frantic, Mosquito Coast. I'm almost done with Mosquito Coast. And you'll go, I remember. It is funny because as I was editing Mosquito Coast, at the open, I did the conversation first with Adam Collins, and now I'm editing the part where we read the script or whatever. But Paul begins with the this date in Ford history and all that stuff, which is painfully out of date. I don't know whether to leave that stuff where it lies or just go, look, who knows when people are going to listen to podcasts. Obviously now it's ridiculous, but like that podcast, it's now been so long that I've been not working on it, now working on it. I think he begins with, he goes, it's 168 days till Dial of Destiny. I might have to cut that part out. And with that, thank you all for watching. I bid you a fondue.
1, 2, 3.
So, spiders are arachnida. Arachnid, specifically. Web spiders catch and wind their strands around their victims and mummify them before they have them for dinner. Some even devour their own. But spider's not a bad fellow. In fact, in many ways, he's a truly extraordinary creature. Now, and here happens to be one particular example. I got $5 for whoever will come up here and let him out of the jar. What? No takers, huh? What's to be priceless? All right. You have to pick a volunteer. Jane. You're the only Jane in the class. Come on up here. Be brave. Now, unlike insecta, arachnida have 4 sets of legs, not 3. This particular example isn't very large. He's known as Ladrodicus.